And we are here for Rooted in Sports Tuesdays, right? Don't got my man Swan Don today, but obviously I was able to get two guys that are, regulars on here. I got my boy Ron and my boy Zay. Ron from Franchise Mode and Zay from the Isaiah Kit Show. What's going on, fellas?
How you doing?
How you doing? Doing great.
Well, good. I'm glad you guys are feeling great. We got some topics for you guys today. Anybody tuning in, we'll definitely give a quick congratulations to Mr. Messi on his first, might be his only World Cup win.
Yeah, only work out.
Yeah, I think that this is it. We had a NFL legend get arrested for assault the other day. We will definitely talk about that. That'll be an interesting topic. Nikola Joker had a historical night against the Hornets, so we will discuss that, and then obviously we'll do our regular weekly recap and predictions for the next week for the NFL. So a lot of stuff to sort through. We're gonna get in and man, get in and get after it and have some fun doing it. How's that sound, fellas?
Sound good.
Yep, let's get to it.
All right. Get to this intro. And we are back just like that. So, obviously, like I said, World Cup just ended. We talk about this all the time. We are fairly new. I've been a football and basketball fan most of my life, a little bit of baseball. And I'm just really getting into soccer. This is probably my first year ever following the World Cup. I can't speak for you guys.
Basically the same. I've actually done the Women's World Cup more than the Men's World Cup just because the United States is good in that.
Look right. The women actually represent for the flag, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, just want to give a quick congratulations to Lionel Messi. Obviously, we know that he's been talked about for the past 10 years as, the greatest to ever do it in the entire sport. And this was the cherry on top of this, the Sunday for his career, because this was pretty much all he really needed to kind of finish his resume. I mean, just kind of looking at some of the things that he's done. He's been a top goal scorer 22 times, 22 titles. He's been player of the year 10 times. He's a 10-time Spanish champion, Spanish Super Cup winner 8 times. He's the second, or he's a Golden Boot winner 5 times. Mm-hmm. And this was his obviously this was probably 4th time competing in the World Cup. I mean, this dude is pretty much, he's done a lot. I mean, Copa America participant 5 times, and he finally got him one. So I mean, I'm just excited for. I wonder where he goes from here.
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Ron.
I was gonna say, well, I mean, he is 35, so I mean,
getting up there now.
But as we see, a lot of guys in even other sports, you can push it longer if you have a running mate. Luckily for him, on his team, he is one of the best players in the world. So I think he can keep, at least, in his league, the local leagues. I think he can still go. Now, the next World Cup, what is that, 4 years? How long is the World Cup come? How many years is it?
I think it's like
it's every 4 years. It's like the Olympics.
Right.
So 39, tough. Tough. Maybe.
But I guess you're hoping. I guess you would hope for, the young talent around him to emerge, and he could kind of take that back seat and be like more of the veteran presence.
Yeah.
If he doesn't have to be the guy, maybe.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
I mean, his legacy is already cemented.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny how because I agree with you, Kenny. Like, this is kind of like the first real World Cup that I actually really paid attention to and actually cared about. Just so much semantics with it, And then it's like the build up to the World Cup final, and then the actual game, like, was really good. Some might say even like the best sporting event ever, that we witnessed and that we saw on Sunday. So, I think it's always been funny how we compare like Ronaldo and Messi.
Yeah.
And like Ronaldo is like Ronaldo's like he's great too. He's all time.
Yeah, he is.
But he's like the social media cool guy. Like
he's hip.
He has the most social
he's a funny
media
guy.
following, the biggest social media following on Instagram by like any athlete.
Yeah.
He's well accomplished himself. But like as you said, this is like this covenant prize that Messi was missing on the resume, on a really deep and fine and just like great resume that he has. This was the missing link. So I don't know. I think, as you guys are pointing out, I think the next World Cup, could he compete in? Like, yeah, I think he could. But at 39, he can't. I don't know if you're looking for him to put on the performance that he did this previous World Cup, or previous years in his prime.
I mean, it'd be almost unfair to ask of him, especially considering, like how young. Like, you look at some of these teams, man. These guys are young. They're early 20s. I mean, we're talking about France. Like, Mbappe is 23.
Yeah.
And Hungary, right? I think they showed he got the what's the little award he got, and he was like pissed, like, get this out of face. Like, I wanted to win, right? Yeah. So he's like that. I mean, honestly, I mean, if I were to make this comparison, he's kind of like a Kobe, like just so hungry to win, and obviously he's already won one. So now it's just, I mean, it's only up for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but yeah, man. I mean, just kind of short and sweet, man. Just wanted to show Lionel Messi some love. All my soccer fans. I know you guys have been telling me about him for years and everything that he's done for the sport, and obviously he's finally able to get his due and get his flowers. So, congratulations to him, and congratulations to Argentina. Did y'all see that video? Like they were like the camera. You seen it?
That was insane.
Yeah. Like the camera going over Argentina. Like, it's nuts.
That was dangerous. I was to be honest.
It's insane.
These people on top of poles and buildings and parking. What's the parking garage cover thing? They on top of that. I'm like, man, these people it's wild.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. I feel like you know what? I feel like the next World Cup, I'm gonna have to actually. Well, let me stop. It's gonna be in North America next time.
Oh, it's in LA.
If I'm not mistaken, it's going to be in three different, or it's going to be between like US. It's going to be in like three different locations, but I think it's like Canada, North America, and somewhere else. But it's in our general area. I'll put it like that. So it's not in Timbuktu or Saudi Arabia or anything like that. So, but I don't know, man. I feel like I'm gonna have to like actually attend and be in the area, like just to feel the environment a little bit more. So yeah. But we got 4 years, right? We got 4 years to prepare for it.
Yeah, it says. I looked it up really quickly. It says I put 2028 World Cup to see like what will come up. It says allegedly. This is Wikipedia people. But FIFA.com also had it says FIFA World Cup 2026. I think, if I'm not mistaken, this year was the FIFA World Cup, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
I think so.
So it says 2026. Now, unless maybe this is like some type of qualifier or something. It says host of these. It says USA. It says possibly Atlanta, Boston, Dallas, Houston, KC, LA. So like I think it must not have been settled with exact city it is in yet. Again,
well, I think it's gonna have to be in. You think it's gonna be? I would think LA.
I would think LA too.
I would think LA because they.
Oh no, I see what you're saying. It says FIFA
multiple.
This is FIFA.com. Yes, it says FIFA World Cup 2026 host countries: Canada, Mexico, USA. Host cities in Canada like Toronto.
So the entire North America continent.
Yeah,
because they're all right next to each other. So
that's crazy. I'm not even gonna lie. I like it.
Hey, look, we might have to push out to Canada, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
that's good content.
That is right. We're gonna have to do something, man. I don't know. So we got 4 years to get ready. Hopefully by then Ron will take he'll take some time off. Put some time in at ESPN and just tell them I'm trying to go to this World Cup. So, just letting you know ahead of time so you can mark it in your calendar. But so that's obviously that's World Cup, Lionel Messi. But kind of jumping to the NBA, man. It's this guy just never ceases to amaze me. Nikola Jokic, man. I mean, we already see him as the best passing big man of all time, one of the best. I mean, 2-time MVP, which the second one people are mad about. But it's like you continue to watch his game and just how much of a technician that he is. It just becomes so ridiculous because he doesn't have an iota of athleticism, but he is putting people on workout plans. He's playmaking. He's getting rebounds. Like, this dude is hustling. And this dude just the other night against the Hornets, he had 40 points, a career high 27 rebounds, and 10 assists.
Come on, bro.
That's ridiculous.
Come on.
So I think for me, I'll say this. First of all, impressive numbers, right? But I think the part that scares me the most for the Nuggets is that despite that performance, they only beat the Hornets 119 to 115. So
did he play? Did LaMelo Ball play that game? I don't think.
I think LaMelo did play.
Okay, so he's back. Okay, he's back. Okay, still.
So I for me, it's just like I want to hear what you guys' input in, like where the Nuggets are right now. Like, I know they're third in the Western Conference, but to me, that's not enough. Like, he needs more from his supporting cast.
I say this about Jokic, outstanding. That goes without needing to be said. Like, outstanding numbers. I think the only person to put up these numbers is Wilt Chamberlain. Yeah. I saw a funny what if stat. It was like, if Nikola Jokic only would have scored 0 points, it still would have been a historic night. Because only Wilt put out those numbers. So, like, it goes to show you, like, you get those, you get the totals of rebounds, the total assists, and then, like, you look at the 40 points. It's like, even without the 40 points, it's still a historical night, which is insane. So Jokic back-to-back MVP. There is no, like, awesome. In terms of the Nuggets ceiling, and I've always liked the Nuggets in terms of their length. Some of the young players that they had, I've always liked the idea of the Nuggets. But I think you look at their team and their roster construction, the idea of the Nuggets is actually better than the actual team. Because you think about MPJ, everybody loved MPJ coming out of high school. Obviously, he had the serious back injuries at Mizzou, really didn't play much. That led to him dropping in the draft, and he landed in Denver. And since he's had a pretty good career. He's tried to be a pretty good player, but he still has lingering back issues. And like, I think a lot of people were expecting, like, okay, there's another gear we think he can take it to. And that hasn't yet happened. No. That hasn't occurred yet. You look at Jamal Murray. I like Jamal Murray. I always liked this game out of Kentucky. Combo guy can get others involved, but his main thing is scoring the basketball. I'm a score. Yep. I'm a scorer. I come up in big games. But he got hurt not too long ago. He has injuries, so he's trying to come back. You look at this Nuggets team. I like some of the bench players. They got Bones Highland. I like him. Reminds me a little bit of Jamal Crawford. Yeah. Defensively is where the Nuggets really lack and struggle, and that's where their ceiling is kind of capped, because you look at, I think, and ultimately, I think it's going to be really hard for the Nuggets to, not saying impossible, not saying they can't, not saying they won't, but I think it's really hard and difficult for the Nuggets to win a championship when Nikola Jokic is that much of a defensive liability and he's your best player. Like, I think at some point we got to acknowledge that fact, and they've tried to get guys like KCP, who's a 3-and-D type of guy, to fill in the void defensively on the perimeter, but teams still can attack Denver's defense, their pick and roll defense. Right. So I think, as great as Nikola Jokic is, great historic night, he's awesome. I think the idea of the Nuggets is like it's perfect. It's great. They got some nice young tangible players, but I think the actual idea is better than the actual team. And defensively, that's where they still lack, and that's why you're questioning like they should be a little bit better, right? You would think.
Yeah, I look, I've liked the Nuggets for years. Like you said, on paper, this is a hell of a team.
Hell of a team
On paper, but I have the Raptor up. So again, Jokic leads the league in Raptor. He has a 7.6 WAR. He has a 14.4 total Raptor, highest in the NBA, and he's by this stat the best player in the NBA. But his second best player this year has been Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So his total Raptor is a 14.4. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's Raptor is a 1.1. That's the second. That is the second greatest best player on the team. It's a pretty big gap between him and the second best player.
Wow.
Then Jamal Murray, to be fair, is coming off ACL tear, but he's like
a year,
6 months.
Over a year and 6 months.
They sat him all last year just to have him ready for this year.
So he hasn't looked sharp. He's really erratic, jack of all trades, like you're not in a good way. Guy.
And he was, if you remember correctly, he was always kind of like up and down.
Yeah, the bubble didn't look a little better than he was.
Yeah,
he was always kind of up and down. So yeah, go ahead.
And then another stat: Bones Highland was by the guards that play like 200 minutes or whatever or more. He has the lowest Raptor in the NBA out of any point guard, including Russell Westbrook's on that list.
Oh,
he has the lowest Raptor. Like he's a negative on offense, and he has a minus 4.6 on defense.
Wow.
Like the Nuggets only have one defender by Raptor that is a positive defender besides Jokic, because defensive rebounds technically count towards your defense. So clearly, if he's a good rebounder, his defense will be a little higher. But besides that, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a plus 0.3. He's the only positive defender. Now, Aaron Gordon, who I think we all think is a pretty good defender, is technically this year a minus 1.1 on defense. Wow. They have no defense at all in this team. Nothing. It's tough.
Yikes.
I like Mike Malone. I think he can coach.
Yeah, I don't think it's his fault.
I think it's. Go ahead, Kenny.
Well, no, I was just kind of going back to what I originally said. Like, what you guys were saying is just pretty much proving what I said. Like, he really needs more from his supporting cast, and I think it hurts that not only are they struggling on the defensive end, which obviously you mentioned him being a liability himself, but man, from an offensive standpoint, like there's nobody else that's really producing like that, and I think they kind of have this plan. You heard you kind of say at the beginning of the year. Like, it's going to be like they're just going to weather the storm until Jamal Murray gets hot. And he kind of becomes that's a terrible plan. But
he's not good enough for that. Yeah.
Well, I think what hurts Jamal Murray is that he got injured right as he was starting to ascend.
Right.
So it's kind of like an airplane or a jet, breaking down, right as the thrusters are starting to come on. Yeah. It just kind of makes it a little bit worse. Like I really felt like he was starting to become one of the better guards in the NBA, one of the better combo guards in the NBA.
He was.
But unfortunately this is a setback. And so now it's almost like he's back at square one.
And that's the thing. I say that about MPJ, where I remember watching MPJ in high school and all of the hype and sensation coming out. Like I say, went to Mizzou, but I think now here in Denver, I think they've been waiting for some time to kind of for him to unlock. Because I think it's pretty clear, as you mentioned, Jamal Murray, he had the bubble stretch where he was terrific. Really and came up huge in the postseason, and was a huge contributor to what them being able to get to the Western Conference Finals in the bubble. And then in the latter part of that following year, I think it was like April or so forth, he got hurt right before the playoffs.
Yeah,
so
man.
It was tough. And I think from that point on, the Nuggets really have been looking at MPJ. Obviously, Jokic is Jokic, but they've been looking at MPJ as a wing, a 6'10" wing that can put the ball on the deck, that could really score at each and every level, take that next step. And like I said, he's not a bad player per se, but as we're talking about, like offensively, they're just not getting enough from everybody. So you would think that like the Nuggets would want him to unlock it. Like I also look at they moved Bobo, like Bobo.
They did.
Bobo is having a really good year in Orlando, and you see flashes of what he can actually do, and it was kind of like it was kind of sad because like Denver, I thought he fit with the young talent that they had, and it's like a bunch of young talent, and like you got Jokic.
They can use another guy to be honest.
Very underutilized.
Very underutilized, and not they didn't play him as much. So and Ron, you mentioned Bones Highland, I really like, but obviously he's a defensive negative.
He's Lou Williams, literally reincarnated. Like he's literally Lou Williams.
Yeah,
same name,
literally.
Yeah, I mean, and I like that you brought up Bobo, man, because I've been high on Bobo since he came out of Oregon, and it's just fun to see him start to get loose because to me he really fits what the modern day NBA big man is. You know, obviously he's had some struggles on the defensive end, but he's really an athletic 7-footer. He can handle the ball. He has a post game. He can pass. He's developing a little mid-range jumper. Like he's a really well-rounded big. And to say that you had Jokic who's carrying such a heavy workload that you didn't want to use that guy at all, and then now you're stuck with Aaron Gordon, often injured Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah,
you know, Jamal Murray once again still trying to find his footing after a serious ACL injury. I did like the KCP signing though. I thought that was
great for them.
I thought that was good for them.
But I thought they look at that signing as like, okay, he'll clear up on like deficiencies in terms of our perimeter defense, and it's like no.
Good player, but
good player, 3-and-D, but he can't clear up all of your deficiencies in terms of pick and roll defense and so forth. Teams can still attack that.
Yeah.
So
they did sign Bruce Brown. I love
that. You're right. Okay, you're right.
Bruce Brown, yeah.
That was a good signing.
He's actually shot. He's lights out from 3 right now. Mm-hmm. People won't believe it to you. I just want you to go. You can go look at the percentage. He's like somehow lights out this year. He's just worked on it, or it's like, bro, this is another Luka or the Joker. Like they get a player. Somehow, he's just shooting the ball like so well now. It's like, is he just a shooter, or like is this guy just that good of a playmaker every time he's on the floor with these guys?
And I said this about Joker. With him, a lot of the knock on him is obviously he's not the most athletic guy, right? That's obvious.
Yeah.
But then you look at people knock him for his conditioning and so forth. So that little plan that the Nuggets have in place where we're just going to ride this wave until Jamal Murray gets back. It's like, depending on how long it takes Jamal Murray or if he ever comes back, right? that we're just assuming that he will come back. But let's just go with that assumption.
Mm-hmm.
How long is it going to take? Is it going to take until March? Is it going to be April? Is it going to be May?
Because I'm thinking maybe after the All-Star break.
Okay, because you don't want to wear out your big man who already has athletic limitations and so much wear and tear. By the time the postseason come, like Jokic is gonna be he's gonna be done. So he's gonna be toast. So
well I'll say this. I'll say this before we move on. I know Ryan, I thought you wanted to say something. I think right now, at the age Jokic is right now, where he's at in his conditioning, I think he's kind of built to kind of carry the heavy load right now. I think within this 2, 3, 4 year time span, I think he's kind of gotten himself. He's lost a lot of weight. He's after last year, I think he kind of has built that muscle that, okay, I can carry the heavy workload. But if you don't get guys up to speed, I think that's where it affects his career moving forward to where some of them injuries. Remember earlier in his career, he had some injuries and stuff that he dealt with, but he's managed to get healthier. But you want to get guys up to speed now so it doesn't affect him long term. Because I mean, Jesus Christ, it's not sustainable.
Yeah. I really hope for. I think he's a really good player. I don't want to go out sad like Barkley or Barkley got a damn bag. Like he ain't sad at all. But I mean, sad on the ring argument. You got people coming to your show like Kelsey Plum clowning you. Like I don't want that to be Jokic. Now he's from Serbia. He probably doesn't really care about the media much. But he's too good of a player. Like right now, again, he's averaging 25, 10.9 and 9 assists.
It's crazy.
You're big. And he's efficient. He's shooting over 60% from the field.
He's finishing top 3, top 5 in assists as a center. He's a point center.
And he's a great mid-range shooter. Finishes at the rim. IQ is on 10.
Yeah.
And he's okay. He's not good defensively or anything, but he's damn sure not Karl-Anthony Towns. That's a player I think it's impossible to win with. That is what we call bad at that position. Like, I don't think he's that. He's like average. He's like, probably average, slightly below average. Karl-Anthony Towns, though, that is when we think of a big that's like, okay, you're amazing on offense, but it's like you're so bad on defense that like even Rudy Gobert can't make it swing.
Right.
I see Ira in the comments.
Great point.
Oh Lord. Let's see what he say. Big shout out to you guys. Much love. Much love to you too, bro. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, but hey, they had to put somebody there to bang with him. And I think Cat is a guy that, will, as much as we like him, he'll just never be the guy. And I think he wanted to be the guy, but I think that they've realized like
they found
they have.
They found their guy.
Anthony Edwards?
Yes. They found their guy.
Yeah.
They don't have to worry about Cat. Like, they don't have to figure out, Cat, do you want to be the guy? I don't know. No, it's okay, Cat. We found their guy.
I wouldn't be shocked if he's in the trade market. Like,
I think I could see him asking for a trade because remember he wanted Jimmy gone because he felt like Jimmy was taking the ball out of his hands. And now that Jimmy goes, and then you get Anthony Edwards, and Anthony Edwards just gets better every single year. I almost feel like he's almost underappreciated. And I think people
the market, man.
It's the market, yeah. But he's really good. So but yeah, so that's Jokic. We'll see what happens. I think I have to see who Denver plays next, but
they played the Memphis Grizzlies tonight.
Oh yeah, that's big. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't it whoever like they could easily jump to the 1 seed, right?
I think so.
To the 1 or 2 seed, whoever wins tonight. So yeah, I mean, pretty good matchup, but I ain't gonna lie, I don't see them beat Memphis, and we know how Memphis does. They don't just want to beat you; they want to beat the shit out of you.
Oh yeah, you're right.
God damn.
Denver's 18-11, Memphis is 19-10, so this is a 1 game.
Yeah, 1 game type of deal. So, but kind of jumping to another jump in the football, and we had a crazy occurrence. I mean, kind of something very unexpected. I feel like when I think the NFL is starting to die down, or I don't want to say get boring, but not too much newsworthy stuff. I feel like somebody says, "Hold my beer," and they do some of the most ridiculous shit ever. And we just had Willie Mcginest, one of my USC guys. I mean, Southern California native. And the crazy part is you see Willie Mcginest talk. You see the way he carries himself. He's always very well respected. Like carries himself like so well,
so wholesomely.
Like this is a father. Look, he's in multiple kids, man.
Hey, Kenny, how about we continue to butter him up? Come on, let's do this. And then we'll break down what happened.
Yes, like he's one of the NFL Network's best analysts. Like, I mean, dude, he's in the Patriots Ring of Honor. He's a Bill Belichick favorite. He's
literally.
He's won multi. Like this guy was, man. Like this has been a very, very Jokic best player in the NBA right now. Najee Simmons said that. We'll get back to that.
Yeah,
but yeah, we'll get back to that. But all that being said, this man was just caught on video with 2 or 3 of his cronies. I like using that word.
It's definitely a great word.
And he walks into a restaurant, an establishment in West Hollywood, and they beat the brakes off of this man that's sitting with his girl. Like they jumped this man, they beat him up. And if I'm not mistaken, Willie Mcginest hits this man over the head with a bottle.
Multiple
times.
In the video, I did not see that.
I was looking for it too.
I saw him pick up a bottle, And then once that I guess the whooping that they tried to lay on the dude was he put the bottle down, and actually the punches that I did see Willie Mcginest throw, they didn't really connect. So it's like he's a big guy. I mean, he's a big guy, former NFL linebacker. So like he could be physically imposing, but the video that I saw on TMZ. He didn't really land anything. It was the
intent.
Yeah, it was the intent. Yeah. So he got he got charged with assault with a deadly weapon.
100%.
Yeah, that's what I read that on Yahoo Sports. That's why I said the multiple times that was in the report.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't know. He got bail. He turned himself in, got $30,000 bail.
Damn.
Yeah, $30,000 bail. And he made like a little post on Instagram talking about how like the truth will reveal itself. You know how people get into these.
Wait a damn minute! There's no way he posted that.
Yeah. I actually screenshotted. He said things aren't always how they seem at first glance. The truth will prevail.
Hey,
these are Kenya's California boys.
Hey, that's an edited video. That's a freaking somebody edited that video and made it seem like it was him. It's an illusion.
It's what he's saying.
It looks pretty. It looks like the when TMZ points out that hey, this is Willie Mcginest. Looks like him. Black guy, curly haired guy,
big 6'5".
Yeah, big tall guy. Yeah, that looks like him. But he said the truth. You know how people get like
the truth will set you free.
The truth will set you free, or the truth will show itself, or no weapon is formed against me.
Oh God, that's the worst part. That's the worst part.
They bring God into it. I'm like, no, you're in that video.
So first of all, I'll be the optimist. I really hope.
I love that.
I really hope like there's a catch, or maybe somebody's impersonating him, or maybe this is similar to the Aaron. Remember, some guy said Aaron Donald. They say Aaron Donald beat somebody up, and it came out that it wasn't him. Like, I hope this is one of those situations because it just doesn't add up. What's this new term? The math isn't mathing.
Yeah.
This man is 51 years old. He's, a fringe, maybe in 5-10 years, he has an opportunity. He could easily be a Hall of Famer, one day, who knows? It just doesn't make sense that you would think that this man would have more sense than to walk into an establishment that has cameras. You've stayed for the most part of his professional career, you've stayed out of the public eye. I know he had a little trouble at USC that he beat, but at 51, you go and assault somebody, and you're a whole employee for NFL Network.
He's suspended.
He's been working there like
he's suspended.
For a very long since he's retired.
Suspended, not terminated.
Not terminated.
Remember, I told you I'm being the optimist.
Oh, this is
okay. Culture optimism. How about this? He turned himself in.
Smart man, business wise.
Well. I mean, if they
posted $30,000 bail,
but you don't want to.
If I didn't do something,
okay,
I'm not gonna turn myself in and then bail and give up $30,000, which I'm sure he has it.
But it might have been 3,000. Isn't that how that works, Kenny? Like if your bail is set at 30K, you only pay 10% on the bail or something.
If I'm not mistaken, you don't pay the whole bail or something like that. Now, from my understanding, he could have put it. Yeah,
but
yeah.
Granted, if I didn't do anything wrong, I'm not turning myself in.
Well, maybe you go but maybe you go in for. From my understanding, he didn't turn himself in. He went in for questioning, and then they arrested him in the process. That's what I heard.
Oh, okay. There was no. They were questioning him, and then they said, "Hey, we got this video." Like,
yeah, I mean, okay, look. Once again, what if it's not him? I ain't gonna lie.
I hope it's not. I hope the black man is free. I'm be real. I hope it's not him. I would love that.
I hope it's not him.
I'm a big believer.
Faces in the NFL Network,
and that's what hurts me. Okay, so then let me switch reels. I'll switch to the other side. I'll leave the optimist alone for a little bit. Outside of, I already said it's questionable behavior, but then it makes you think. And I think we can agree that we've seen this happen with a few professional athletes. If this is the case and it actually was him, which it does look like him, I'm not trying to say it doesn't look like it's him. Is this who he always was throughout his career? No, I mean, hey, you have to ask these questions. I mean, Darren Sharper has every right to be a Hall of Famer, and he was a whole sexual predator, and we didn't know it. Yeah. He was a team leader, Hall of Fame safety, got on NFL Network, was a great analyst, great personality.
Right on there. Yeah, you get to see it.
Sexual predator.
I'm starting to realize something with these NFL Network guys. You have Marshall Faulk, you had Warren Sapp.
I haven't heard the greatest things. I know
I haven't heard the greatest things either. I'm just now that you have my mind circling back. I don't know. And you said, has this always been him?
I mean, it could have been. I mean, dude, he went to Long Beach Poly. I'm sure I mean, I'm gonna be real. He could very well. People that grow up in that area, man, they connected. They affiliated somehow, some way, to the street life, and So once again, this is just me, just seeing it from a realistic standpoint. He could have been this could have been his character his entire career. He just had the right people in his corner, and he was able to avoid, really getting in the public eye.
Well, okay. Well, I have two things. One,
okay.
Again, it's a case that he won, but he was accused of sexually assaulting a woman at USC. I think we know that it was dropped.
Yeah.
So again,
it was dropped.
It was not enough evidence.
Right.
Never, just because there's enough evidence doesn't mean you're fully off the hook. It means you're off the hook, but doesn't mean necessarily you have any part. So we have to think about that. Again, I don't want to accuse him because, again, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
Hey, what did Donald Rumsfeld say? He said, the absence of evidence is not the evidence of absence.
So, look, reasonable doubt, man. That's all you need, some reasonable doubt.
Yeah.
Then I just have to give my football player thing. I know we talked about this pre-show. It's just like, this is my thing. If someone, that turns 23 on Friday, like I'm, getting a little older, not Kenny, but getting up there, year by year.
This man gonna take a shot at me every
5 to 10 years. I'm like, all right, 5 to 10 years, maybe I have me a kid or something. I'm like, do I want if it's a son specifically, do I want this man to play football? Like, yeah, it's the money, but you gotta think like, okay, money, fame, and that's about it. It's like being a rapper at this point. Like being a rapper is fun, but you see all these rappers dying. You're like, wait a minute,
it's
dangerous to be a rapper. It's like a football player. Wait, my body's messed up. I might literally start getting angry when I get older because my head is literally mush. Like literally, this is proven fact based on if you get CTE. Then lastly, like it's okay. So I remember when I played football, there was like a switch I turned on. I wasn't just Ronald. Now I'm Julio or like whatever my football alter ego is. Like you become like an angry person. Sometimes it's hard to turn that switch off. Like you become that angry guy. Like this is why people like when Ray Lewis is like talking in the field and off the field, like he turns that switch on and off. These are completely different people. Right. Sometimes some people cannot do that. It's not easy. Like he's probably a natural, like he was a linebacker, bro. He's not a quarterback. This is a linebacker. Like we saw Ray Rice. These are the collision positions. You can't just be the nice shake your hand guy all the time. That can break you. So it's like I don't want so it's like you have to ask like, do you want your son to even have that alter ego, that other personality? And this is besides the injury stuff.
I'll tell you something that Martellus Bennett said that I never forgot. And I love the Bennett brothers because they operate in a realm of transparency that makes everyone uncomfortable. No one likes it. But he said some of the people, he said a lot of the NFL legends and people we grew up idolizing, he says a lot of them are bad people.
I'm not shocked by that.
And I mean, and I paraphrase it a little bit, but he basically said these people that we grew up idolizing, these Hall of Fame players, all Pro Bowl players, a lot of them have flexible morality. So yeah, I mean, it's just once again very, very unfortunate. I'm interested to see what the outcome of this is, to see what more comes out. Because so throw it out. No, go ahead. Throw it out.
Your NFL networks if it turns out that this is him, what do you do?
Well, he's clearly getting fired. I think first of all, look, watch this. Let's go ahead and throw this out. If they can fire Warren Sapp, who's phenomenal on air,
on television,
if they could fire him, they could fire anybody. And that's just outside of man, because Warren. Sometimes I'm watching like, man, I miss Warren Sapp.
He was so good on the board.
So good,
man. He was so good on the board. But to be fair, Warren's was related to women and sexual assault, and we know in 2022.
Well, I was gonna say
19
solicitation.
Serious in that.
I was gonna say Richard Sherman had his little situation
before his sports media career, though.
Yeah, okay.
He was still kind of playing. He was still considering playing. Like he was still in that realm.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. Yeah. And he's a guy that I think he's a really brilliant intellectual mind, football wise, and just in general. And he works at Amazon, does Thursday Night Football and so forth, and some other stuff. I was just throwing it out there in terms of like women and children.
Yeah.
I
don't think we'll see Adrian Peterson on NFL Network, do we?
No.
You know what? Okay. You know what? I'll say this: you never know who is going to be a good analyst, because some people shock me. I'll be honest. I never thought Randy Moss was going to have a big personality.
Touche.
I never saw that. And then he gets on and you're like, this is Randy Moss? Like, this is the guy who was always quiet and stoic. Well, at least he looked like it on TV. And then he, very big personality. So you just never know. I'm not going to shoot Adrian Peterson down and say that he absolutely couldn't do it. You just never know until some of these guys get in that seat. But, kind of just going back to Willie Mcginest, this one's going to be tough. And I'll say this, if in fact he did do it, I don't know. I might have to put my, I'm from Southern California. I may have to put my ear to the streets, and I work at the prison. I'm like, hey, what old boy did for Willie Mcginest to beat him up? The inmate's gonna be like, bruh, he did this, and this.
They be knowing info.
Yeah, they be knowing. That's the all the information go through there, man. When when the rapper got killed? Was it when he lost his life? Was it PB Rock?
PNB Rock
in LA.
PNB Rock. Oh man, the inmates already had before the news. The inmates like, yeah, this person from so and so did it. From this hood did it. I was like, dang, man, y'all know everything. Yeah, hey. So once again, different world. So we'll see what happens with that. And I guess I'll just we'll keep you guys updated and on standby with what happens with that situation. But obviously we have to get to our Week 15 recap, and then we'll have our predictions right after that to kind of close things out. So, kind of pulling it up.
Yeah.
Let's see. Get this shared, and
Yeah, this was a crazy week. Not even just for my team, for a lot of games that are pretty weird. Like,
I can't wait.
It was like a September week.
Okay,
it was wild. It was complete madness, man. Well, I mean, obviously starting out with this game, 49 Seahawks. I watched it. I actually had the Seahawks winning this game. They just honestly had an opportunity to win this game, but they made one too many mistakes. And I know they had that crucial fumble when they were driving. And then the 49ers were just kind of able to capitalize on that. But it was a really good NFC West matchup. But I think right now the 49ers are just so well coached and opportunistic. You have to play a pretty clean game of football to beat them.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, the 49ers, they got so much premium talent. Just on both sides. Like, it doesn't even, like, Kyle Shanahan, he's gonna win about 12, 13 games with 3 different quarterbacks. And it's like people, like, they got so much premium talent, Kyle, in that system, in the scheme. I'm not surprised that the Niners, about a month and a half ago, after their stomping that Kansas City got them, they ran into a buzzsaw. I looked ahead of their schedule and I'm like, the Niners, they're going to put together a nice little win streak here because their schedule started to open up and they started to get guys back healthy. I think with the Seahawks, they had the best draft this past year, and Pete Carroll, to have this team at 7-7, I think it's all like great coaching job, but I also think it's more so like the division hasn't been as good as we thought it would be. And in Seattle won the games that they beat the bad teams on their schedule, and a lot of the good teams that they played on their schedule they kind of lost to and so forth. But still a really overachieving and good season for the Seahawks. We'll see how they close out.
Yeah, Brock Purdy, I mean, I'm just still kind of shocked. I do get it as Kyle Shanahan, but he was below 500 with any other non-Jimmy G guy. So I still didn't think this would work. It's been working so far. I love to see what happens, I guess, in the playoffs before I give it anything, because it's just I just don't know what the 49ers do, because it's like, okay, Jimmy G's hurt. He's probably gone, I assume. You have Purdy, 7th round pick, and he spent 3 on Lance. Come back next year. So it's just like
it's a good problem to have.
Richard Sherman said that if Brock Purdy was to win the Super Bowl for the 49ers, it'd be like the worst case scenario. And I couldn't disagree. I couldn't disagree more.
Yeah.
I think it's the easiest scenario. It's the best case scenario. Because it's like, you move off of Jimmy Garoppolo. The 49er faithful, I follow a lot of them on Twitter. They don't have no invested interest in Trey Lance. That's the front office. So, like, if Brock Purdy wins it all for them, Brock Purdy's your guy, and you're just gonna have to have some difficult conversations.
Well, remember, and I have to remind everybody, if anybody followed them this offseason, Brock Purdy was actually outplaying Trey Lance in training camp during the offseason. So this wasn't like him looking better than Trey Lance isn't surprising at this point. Trey Lance should be. Well, I mean, I guess you can say off a draft slot, but based off of what we've seen, actually, when they've played, Brock Purdy has looked better. That's just, I mean, even outside of these games, he's just looked better in the preseason with the reps that he's gotten. So, I mean, yeah, I guess we'll just have to see how once again, me, I'm critical to 49ers. So I have to see them play against some of the better teams. But if he manages to get him one, man, I mean, first of all, I'd be sick. But 2, I'd be pissed. I'd be like, bro, I might stop watching football. Maybe not so much. I'm just saying that because I'd be pissed. But, I don't want to hear. I get tired of hearing 49ers fans' mouth. But, yeah, so good problem for them. So then we had the Colts Vikings. I mean, this was pretty simple. I mean, the Colts jumped on them. Was it 33-0?
Yep.
In the first half, they jumped on them. They were up. And, I mean, the Vikings, who, just a few weeks ago, got blown out, managed to orchestrate the greatest comeback in NFL history. And they came back and won this game 39-36. Kirk Cousins, big game. I think he's a little bit underappreciated. And Justin Jefferson and KJ Osborne both had well over 100 yards.
157 for KJ Osborne. Wow.
He could be that emerging number 2.
It's not Thielen anymore, is it?
I always thought Thielen, Thielen had a little moment, but I always thought Thielen was limited. I always thought he was a product of the guys he played across from. But that's not an insult to him. I just never felt like he was the number 1 guy that they tried to. Before. Yeah, Diggs. I was like, oh, he's the number 1. No, Diggs is the number 1. He's the number 2. He's a really good number 2.
Yeah.
Then, right. So, but yeah, I mean, pretty simple with that. I don't know if you guys got any other thoughts on that game.
No, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was
bad for Matt
I
Ryan.
I just was so upset because that shouldn't be the greatest comeback in NFL history by points. He just shouldn't.
It shouldn't be.
But the calls like that it was. So I guess if they're okay with it, I'm okay with it.
Right. So then we got Ravens Browns. Classic. It was an AFC North matchup.
Yeah.
I mean, Deshaun Watson continues to climb. You know, he's trying to really get his game back, and it slowly but surely. You're seeing some throws and some plays where okay, well he's not super far, but it's still some time before he can become the player that he was before missing some time due to the case. They were able to pull this. Honestly, this was just an ugly game between two teams that are struggling. The Browns aren't very good right now, and Bo, don't beat me up. The Ravens, you know, Tyler Huntley was playing, and you know Lamar Jackson didn't play. But I mean, man, they're not that good right now either. And you know, you almost have to question how good are they going to be even when Lamar gets back. Just seeing how the AFC is starting to shape up has become very competitive. So, I mean, I don't know, pretty ugly, basic game to me. But the Browns were able to pull it out and keep themselves somewhat in playoff contention.
Watson, I mean, I'm still waiting.
It's gonna be a minute, man.
But god dang, like if he was in a bad situation, I'd be like, yeah, give him some time. Like top 10 O-line, okay. You do have a receiver. The other receivers aren't the best, but you have a guy. You have a good tight end as well, I would say. He was playing good at least when you weren't there. And then you have two running backs. And I say, I've been on the Nick Chubb is best running back in the NFL train. I think you damn near have the best guy. Like after contact, he's him. Like, can he catch the ball? No. But like running the ball, like the guy you hand the ball to the last 3 years, like the numbers are there for him to make a case. So it's like you have a guy you can run the ball, and then Kareem Hunt catch the ball. And then Kareem Hunt really ain't been all that, ain't been as good this year. It's probably hard again when the guy in front of you is that good, but still, I think he has a lot. I mean, but he now to be fair, 700 plus days, no football.
Yeah, I think it's going to take some time before Deshaun is playing back at that level that we're used to him and to his capabilities, because 2 years off, like of really like NFL defenses, like regular season games, it's top speed. It's going to take a lot to get back adjusted and acquainted to that. Honestly, it might take the entire season, and you might not see like regular Deshaun Watson until the start of next year.
Yeah.
No, I agree, and I think he knows that, and
he knows.
The organization knows.
I don't think he's pressing it. I don't think the Browns are looking though like oh damn, and we like the Broncos. Like no, like I think they know.
Right? No, they do.
Yeah,
they do. They
27, right? 28.
Yeah. 26.
Yeah, like come on, he should be fine. With his arm getting broken, like
yeah, he's 26. So closing this year out strong in a good offseason, and he should be back. So then we got this. We had our some Saturday games. We had the Dolphins Bills.
Great game.
This was actually a really great game. Dolphins actually jumped on them. I think they played admirably to say that it was in the cold, and we know that they're a warm weather team. But this was just a game, and I know we give this guy a lot of praise, but this was just an example. This was a game where Josh Allen just took over a game on his own.
Yep.
And at the end, and he just kind of has that's the sign of a great quarterback, that when everything isn't going your way, you can just kind of reach in your bag and just figure it out. You can just put out great performances like it's nothing. And they managed to come back. And the crazy part is you walk away from this game. I think this was actually one of Miami's better games. I don't think they played.
I was just going to add, like, I think, granted, first, I want people to slow down the Tua hype. Over these last couple weeks, you can see, okay, like Tua versus Herbert, like Herbert's on a different level, clearly. You can see Tua versus Josh Allen. Josh Allen's on a different level. Not to say that Tua isn't good, but these guys Like Allen's on a different stratosphere. Herbert is trying to peak near that elite, and Tua's just good, and it's okay. But I was just gonna add, like, I thought, given the circumstances with Miami, I had my doubts, like, how does this Florida team that throws the ball all over the place, how are they gonna look in the snow? I thought until the snow actually started coming down heavy, thought Tua played well. I thought their offense played well. I thought Miami, their game plan was better than Buffalo's.
I like Michael
I just think Buffalo, they got Josh Allen, and that's the gift of having a great to elite quarterback, where like your game plan may not be the best, your defense may not be playing up to par. You know, the other team may be overperformed, but last down the stretch, can you take over games? Yes, and that's what Josh Allen did.
And you know what? I'll say this. It's just kind of funny how this game ended up, because if you really look at it, the Bills really just got their lick back, because when they played the Dolphins the first time, they were, obviously it was in Miami. It was hot. It was humid. Guys was cramping up. They just got their lick back, and they say, okay, well, now you're in the frozen, now you're in the cold tundra. You're in Buffalo now.
Same division. Wow.
Same. Yeah.
It's crazy, right? It's crazy to think about.
So, that's all they did. The roles were just reversed, and now you're in their environment. But once again, Miami, saying that it was in the cold and it was snowing, they played a very admirable game.
And look at Raheem Mostert, 17 for 136. Like, Jeff,
which is big. Which is big because my biggest issue with Miami is I didn't feel like they could consistently run the football. So that
they
is
had
really
good running backs. I'm like, they got two guys I think are good players. So I'm like, maybe it's the scheme, but clearly they can. If you can throw the ball down the field, you can run the ball. Well, unless you're Buffalo, clearly. But besides Buffalo, usually that works out for most teams. So I think, look, I like Jeff Wilson.
100%. Eagles Bears. Obviously, Eagles were able to win it 25-20, but this was a dogfight. Like the Bears, I continue to be. Even if they lose, I genuinely enjoy watching the Bears play. Like, I like this Matt Eberflus led team. Like, they are tough. I mean, very similar to the Texans, who we'll talk about. Who they may not have the talent. And first of all, the Bears, Chicago has a lot of injuries, right? Like, I think they were down to like their 5th and 6th wide receiver. Like, they just don't. They have a lot of injured guys, and they're decimated. They traded away guys. Like, this is a talent-ridden team right now. But they managed to punch Philly in the mouth and really hang in there with them. And Justin Fields is continuing to show everybody that he is. I mean, we could easily look up a year from now and he's a Pro Bowler, all-pro type of player if they're able to surround him with what he needs.
Yeah, as a runner, I'm gonna be real. I like Fields. I think he was gonna be this good. He's damn near Lamar Jackson right now. Like, he's
I didn't.
By the numbers, a top 5 rushing QB season ever. Like, this year,
well,
he's had 1,000 yards, right?
He's the third. He's the third QB in NFL history to rush for 1,000 yards.
Like, this is and it's not. And again, he has 3 runs of 50+ yards. Every QB ever total is 3.
Yeah,
he has 3 this year.
Yeah.
Like, he's breaking runs, and I'm be real. I haven't, and he's not even like take hits guy. I swear I'm not even seeing him take that many hits. It's like I used to always say about Lamar. People like, oh, Lamar's getting hurt just because he's running. He's probably getting hurt because like maybe ligament stuff. But every time Lamar gets hurt, it's always in the pocket. Like, it's not like he's getting hurt because he's taking hits like RG3. Like, the argument should be for Fields, like, maybe you'll get, your ligament wear and tear. Maybe that can be injured by running as a quarterback, but he's not like Fields is even Cam Newton or Josh Allen. Like, he's not taking hits. He might make a little into the run, but I've been just the passing, of course, when you get some receivers, hopefully that improves a little bit more. But he's been improving every year with that too. But the rushing right now is A+.
S tier.
Like,
S tier.
Can't even get better.
And speaking of injuries, Jalen Hurts walked away with an injury with his shoulder. But to go back with Fields, I mean, in Chicago, their record 3-11 is not too pretty, but ever since that Patriots game, I've been really, really watching the Bears and their progression as a football team. And a lot of these games they're losing. It's like they're close games, and they're losing teams that are just outright like they got more talent. Like Philly, top 3 talented team in the league. So like Philly just got more talent and they can overcome. But you look at Fields, if Chicago, if they play their hand right, because they got $100 million in the cap money and cap space, and then they got draft capital as well. If they play their cards right, Chicago could very well have themselves their guy in Justin Fields, and could potentially like play themselves, a 500 team maybe, like a 3-4 win improvement from this year. So that's what I take away with Chicago, like another impressive like moral victory per se, and Philly. They walked away unscathed, or I shouldn't say unscathed because Jalen Hurts is hurt. No pun intended. But yeah.
I mean, I see a possible bigger improvement if they put the right pieces around. We'll have to see how their draft goes, but I think that they can turn it around fairly quick. I'm just that exactly. I'm just that confident in Matt Eberflus and his his ability to coach and change a culture, and you're seeing that. Really quick. I mean, this was an ugly game. Falcons Saints. Yeah. Crazy enough, both are firmly in playoff contention in their division. Both could easily win. We have to see how they close out. No, that it's scary. It's almost sickening. Crazy. Yeah. Because the Buccaneers are at number 1 and they are 6-8, and every other team in that division is 5-9. So both have a chance. Bro, hey, look.
I love it.
Give me
I love it,
bro. I'm trying to think of who. I'll probably take the Saints if I was any team.
I take the Saints.
Give me the Saints. I feel like that's the best matchup for Dallas, but another story for another day. But I mean, this was once again not very non-exciting game. The Falcons started Desmond Ridder. It kind of rough, but he was able to complete some passes, and I think if anything, developed a little bit more chemistry with Drake London, and I think that's something to look out for in the upcoming weeks. Drake London's a beast. To see how Desmond Ridder. Just to see how much he trusts Drake London and puts him in position to make plays and use his size and box defenders out. But outside of that, I mean, the Falcons did what they do every week. Any Arthur Smith team, they're going to run the football, and then they play some defense. They almost caught up and won the game, but obviously the Saints were able to close it out. They still got some capabilities on defense, and offensively, Andy Dalton did just enough.
Yep. Yeah, I agree.
Look, they said pretty simple. This was a good one, between two teams that are in playoff contention. The Lions and the Jets. We know the Jets surprised people by being good, by being competitive this year. Zach Wilson kind of got his spot back by default because Mike White got hurt and he's still hurt. And he actually played better. I'm not gonna say he played great, but he played better.
I watched some of the tape.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say I thought he looked a little. He made a few throws that I said, okay, he just looked a little bit better. It wasn't 8 completions.
Yeah, he's still raw, but
very raw.
He's raw.
Very raw.
I'll say this about Zach Wilson because I was fascinated to see how he would come back and bounce back, and even the post game, the media kind of threw him some questions to see how he would respond.
They were trying to bait him.
They were trying to bait him, and he answered it pretty well. I'll say this about Zach Wilson: I wasn't the biggest fan of him coming out of BYU, but the knock that I've been seeing since he's entered into the league, he can make the big time throws, like the throws, like whoa, okay, like that's a great throw, but he can't make the easy throws. He can't make the simple reads, and I always say like this sidearm stuff that all these quarterback trainers are teaching now,
it's
where
so
like
cheesy, bro.
It's so cheesy, and it's like that's literally like that happens literally like 2% of the time. Like a lot of the plays is like, hey, just get it out to make the easy read, make the easy completion, and Zach Wilson still struggles to do that at year 2. I don't know. I just can't point out an example in NFL history where a quarterback was bad their first 2 years. They didn't show any type of growth, and they just turned out to be awesome year 3 and moving forward. So I don't know. The Lions, though, it's a great story. It's a great story. I like what Dan Campbell. No. I like what Dan Campbell is doing here with Detroit. Wasn't the biggest fan in his introductory press conference, but they've turned it around, and they got guys. Like, this Detroit team got dudes that can play on both sides. I like Detroit.
Yeah. Look, Hard Knocks team, man. This is one of the best Hard Knocks I've seen in years. I was hoping they would win 9 games. I think they still can. I think they can win out. First I predict them to win out. I just didn't see a loss in the schedule. They don't really play a good team to end out.
The Packers will probably be the questionable, because the Packers believe that they have an outside shot to make it into the playoffs.
Those hopes will end on Christmas Day.
Who they play on Christmas?
Miami.
Oh, damn. I didn't see that one. I must have get. Yeah. That's tough. Nah, I ain't gonna predict them to beat Miami. Okay, let me say this. I wouldn't be shocked if they beat Miami, because they are like the poor man version of Miami, to be honest. No defense for real, great offense. They can run the ball. Miami more is a throwing thing.
Who got a great offense? Oh, wait, no. I'm talking about the Packers.
Oh, I thought they said they play the Dolphins.
No, the Lions play the Panthers next.
The Lions, I was saying the Packers play the
Packers.
Dolphins.
Yeah, the Packers play the
Packers.
Dolphins. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
okay.
When you said great offense, I said, because
no. I still think Jordan Love should get in there, but that's just look, man. But anyway,
it's almost like a crime that he's not playing. But we'll talk about that game in a minute.
Yeah, they get picked for Rodgers. I mean, they get probably first or two. The Jets.
Steelers Panthers. I mean, once again, pretty simple, ugly game. Mitch Trubisky played. Kenny Pickett is still injured, if I'm not mistaken. The Panthers put up a fight. I just think that they played against a team that is probably equally as bad, but a little bit more talented. But a kind of, just enough plays to win it. But the Panthers continue to impress me with just how much they fight. I'm impressed by, even if you got, people don't think it's eye popping. It hurts me to see Sam Darnold.
What do we have here?
What do we have there?
Whoa, hold on.
Hey,
there you go.
I was like, bro, what is this noise?
That's awesome.
You can mute the
Toyota. Let's go places.
Like, it's like a mute button on the
keeping everything business as usual.
On the what?
We're playing a really good team.
Like on the share, James. Like it's like my picture, your picture.
We can on the short week.
Okay.
On the bottom of the screen of the stream. It's just
it caught me off guard. I kept hearing shh. Shh. Like, what is this?
Sexual on here. I mean, I was like, yo, wait, kitty. Like, yo.
And it's still doing it, huh?
No, we can't hear it anymore.
We can't hear it. We're good.
You guys can't hear it?
No, but like on the bottom of the stream, like where our pictures are, there's like you can mute. There's like a mute button. You can like push it's like where the mics are. You can mute the screen you share.
Okay. Well, you know what? Hold up. Okay, so look. So this is what we'll do. I'm gonna go ahead and mute the thing, because this is the first time it's actually happened like this to me. But.
Little blooper right there.
All right. Yeah, so I continue to be impressed by Sam Darnold. You guys tell me what you think about that game.
Najee Harris is my takeaway, because I just wasn't a fan pre-draft, man. It's not he's a bad player. It's the play style. And it's just like again, I love his story. The story's an A+. Is he a good personality? All of that. But it's hard. That play style is one. It's just hard to win because he's not necessarily going to be an athletic freak. He can hurdle people, but doesn't have the breakaway speed that a lot of running backs probably need. They probably have a bad offensive line, and it's like you draft running back in the first round without fixing the O-line. You essentially waste his career. So that's my main takeaway from Pittsburgh. I think they've been one of the worst drafting teams the last 3 years. Historically, they've been known as a good drafting team. They have been horrible the last couple of years. If you really think about it, they did hit on TJ Watt though, but besides, a couple of these hits here and there, you got your Artie Burns in there. They drafted Pickett in the first round. Another quarterback didn't go to the 5th. Like, they've had some draft. Najee Harris in the first round when you have a bad O-line. That's my takeaway from Pittsburgh. I don't love Tomlin. He's not GM, so.
My thing with Pittsburgh, this throughout the whole year, and I know Pickett didn't play in this game, but Matt Canada, They have like a 1988 offense. It's a BB gun offense. Well, no, I'm gonna say that for someone else, but that's a 1988 offense that they are running. I wish they can get a little bit more creative. Granted, they won this football game, but I just think of Pittsburgh defensively, they're fine. They'll find their way, but offensively, I think, as you mentioned, Ron, they've been able historically to hit, especially at the wide receiver position.
Yeah,
they've been able to hit on the draft and hit in other spots. I want to see how they collectively restructure and build this offense so they're just not like anemic. And a lot of that kind of like starts with like the creative play calling and trying to figure out who's the guy at the quarterback spot.
They have the ugliest, most unimaginative offense I've ever watched.
Oh,
and
no.
it makes and it makes
I know
me
a team with a worse offense.
Oh,
we get to him.
You get to him.
Yeah,
we will. But yes, so pretty ugly. And then the guess we got this game. I don't want to be on it too long because I don't want to frustrate myself too much. But we got the Cowboys Jaguars. I mean, you know what? Let me not too frustrated. I think this was a game that everyone knew was dangerous for the Cowboys because the Jaguars had been playing pretty good over the last month and a half, barring one or two games that they lost. And honestly, the Cowboys were really in control of this. Honestly, towards the end of the third quarter, but Jacksonville did something. It's kind of like playing hide and seek, and you're hiding in a place where you feel like you can get caught, and you're watching the person look around, and you're like, "Dang, I hope they don't catch me." And that was me watching the Jacksonville offense with Kelvin Joseph at corner. I just felt like eventually they were going to see him and they were going to attack him. And that's exactly what they did. And, in lieu of 2 touchdowns, they were able to get themselves back in the game. And I mean, after that, we talk about Big Mo. They had Big Mo and they was able to kind of make this a game. And, ultimately they won in overtime.
Look, man. This game is really hurt because I really thought the Cowboys at the 1 seed. It's not that I wanted the 1 seed. I was pressed for that because I would love to. I mean, I'm just not afraid of Bucks. I'm just that guy. If you lose to the Bucks, you deserve to not be in the playoffs. Period.
Right.
That's just my take on that. They're not a good team in my opinion. So I'm not I like a ramp up game in the playoffs. I really do. But it's just like you wanted the Eagles game to mean more on Christmas Eve. I know even Jerry probably did. That's a money game. So I know he wanted the game to mean more, and now it's like it doesn't really mean anything.
Well, let me ask you this: you still think that it can't?
Well,
because
the Eagles have to lose out,
and it's possible.
Well, Hurts only got one. Okay, so
Hurts is supposed to miss 2 games.
Wow. Okay, so
Minshew is not a bad
1 to 3 weeks.
Minshew's good. You said what?
1 to 3 weeks. It's an AC joint sprain. It's not a bad injury. Like he won't be like hampered for the playoffs or anything.
No. But then you have to weigh risk towards reward. What they?
You're right. Because Minshew's actually not bad QB. I actually like Minshew.
No, I like Minshew. I like Gardner Minshew, but I think I think he changes their offense.
To be honest, I think Minshew could actually lose Hurts to MVP because he's going to look good in this offense. Like, wait a minute, how good is Jalen Hurts? Because if everyone can look good here, then wait a minute. Like, I think that's a very good possibility because Minshew's going to throw the damn ball. Like, I mean, he doesn't have the best arm. He's going to take some shots. So it's not like A.J. Brown's not going to drop. The Wise men don't get his touches. Like, they're going to run probably more of a passing offense with Minshew than they did with Hurts because he doesn't have the running aspect. So that's really what I'm waiting to see with the Hurts thing. So, but
think about this: they're playing 3 teams that are in playoff contention.
Yeah, who's their schedule?
They play the Cowboys, they play the Saints, and they play the Giants.
They beat the Saints.
Okay, look. Watch this. I believe you guys. I'm just telling you, they're playing 3 teams with playoff that have realistic. So nobody's gonna,
roll over.
Yeah. No, not a soul. Because the Saints have to play hard down to the last week to
have their pick. They do not have their pick. The Saints.
Watch this. And the Saints beat the Bucks, so the Bucks can't tie with them.
Actually, do the Eagles have the Saints pick? Is that the pick that the Eagles have? I think that's the pick.
Is it?
They definitely
no. Well, wait. I think it is. Yeah. But yes. So yeah, the Saints have a chance. So yeah, I'm just saying, stand by on that.
I'll just say about the Jaguars. I'm not going to harp.
Yeah.
I'm not going to harp on the Cowboys. The Jags. I think this is they keep themselves in quote unquote playoff contention. I think they're playing with a lot of house money. I think they're a year away from actually being real. I think it's a sight for not even a sight for sore eyes, but it's really good to see Trevor Lawrence like really formulate and materialize into what everybody thought he would be. And it goes to show you, no matter how talented you are, it is very, very hard to overcome bad coaching and bad coaching. And last year, Jacksonville was sorry as hell. They were sorry as hell under Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer displayed poor leadership, and was not a good NFL coach. You get a mature guy in Doug Peterson, a Super Bowl winning head coach in Doug Peterson, who's also offensively minded and also changing the culture. It just goes to show you coaching matters in this league, no matter how talented you are. And Trevor, it's now paying off, and you've seen upgrades at certain spots at the receiver position, and you're seeing him, take it to that next level in terms of, really separate himself from his other peers in the draft class.
Let's give a shout out. Doug Peterson is a really good coach, man.
Damn good.
I think people give him a lot of flack because of how things ended in Philly, but man, he is a great developer of talent. He's a team guy. So I knew once they hired him, even if it was going to be a year or two process, I knew that he was going to be able to right the ship and get things together. And I'll just say this before we move on. He had a great game plan against Dallas and did some of the things that I've seen him do in Philly with the screen game and just lateral movement and making, linebackers and safeties have gap discipline and eyes and, know what they're seeing. So eye candy. Yeah. So he did a really good job with that. So yeah, the Jacksonville should be feeling very good about what they have brewing right now. So then we got, you said what?
They have a QB and a coach. It don't get better than that.
It don't get better. Exactly. So then Chiefs Texans. I think I said this in the chat, even though Dallas lost, I think that the sports media world owes them an apology. For saying they were bad because they were struggling against the Texans. But the Texans are just going to punch anybody in the mouth that they play. It took the Kansas City Chiefs. Honestly, it took the Texans to blow it. And it took the Kansas City Chiefs to get them into overtime, to come back and get them into overtime to win that football game.
And Damian Pierce did not play. Their best player on offense did not play. Brandon Cooks did not play. Second receiver did not play. Texas didn't have anybody playing this game.
I'll say this about Kansas City, looking ahead of the playoffs, because obviously they're going to be a playoff team. Their pass defense really scares me, because Mahomes, and I'll say this before I get to that. Mahomes, awesome. I think for me, he's my MVP.
Right.
And I mean the efficiency. I think at one point, he completed 18 of 19 passes. Yes. Like, I want people to understand how incredible and how crazy it is to do that in an NFL game. And it was one throw that he had made from like the end zone to the other side, and the guy just dropped it. But it was like an absolute dot. I think Mahomes, we are obviously amazed and in awe of the physical talent, but I also think his feel for the game is just next level. And you really see that. Now, with Kansas City's secondary and passing in their pass defense, it should be really worrisome, because you're thinking about the potential of facing a Herbert, a Bengals team, a Bills team, all really good teams through the air, even the Dolphins, really good teams that can push the ball through the air and got playmakers. It is really, really, it should be worrisome for the Chiefs with their pass defense. I think some of the numbers are misleading, because a lot of these games they lead. So like teams obviously have to throw the football on them. But I think like you can see the weaknesses and the deficiencies that they have. But I think Mahomes is the best. He's the best quarterback, like when trailing ever in this sport. He's like, so that's what you have. That's what they're leaning on.
Yeah, the Chiefs. I would probably bet my money on them if I had to pick a team in the AFC. But
Me too. I would.
Had some games like this. I'm like, it ain't no shoe in. I mean, but to be fair, this will be a down year for the Chiefs. This is literally going to probably be the worst year in Mahomes' contract. This is the year they kind of like, we'll see what happens if we can win anyway. Like that was the projection going into this year. Next year they'll actually probably be a little better than this team. This was a down year technically.
So you feel like this is an all fuck it year? We're gonna see what we can do.
I mean, before this year, people picking them to be like third in the AFC West. Like this was not a year they spent all their money. They still have Frank Clark on the books. Like a lot changes for this team. Like Juju comes off. I don't know if they re-sign him, but MVS.
I think they do.
Guaranteed money.
I think that he's been really reliable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would get MVS out of there before I got Juju out of there, in my opinion. Humbly.
Yeah. I think Juju has been the possession guy that they've needed for a long time.
Yep.
So because they've always had that speed element, but they never had that true big body, reliable possession guy. Man, like, dude, you brought up a name, boy. Dwayne Bowe. But yeah, and I'll say this: it continues to add to my point that the talent or the team disparity, it's not as it once was. It like we say any given Sunday, but the truth is, I think that the league is at a point right now where there are just no more laydowns. Like I think those days, I'm not gonna say they're completely done forever, but I think that they're done for the foreseeable future. You will never see like teams that you can look at them and like, oh yeah, they're gonna get blown out this week. That's done. The NFL is too talented now. So
yeah.
Cardinals, Broncos. I don't even want to talk about this game that long. I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. We got Ripien started. Russell Wilson is still out. He was at the casino going crazy. Hopefully he won him a little bag.
He needs no more money. He don't need no more money.
He don't, man, but he looked depressed at that table. Latavius Murray had a big game. Jerry Jeudy, 7 receptions for 76 yards. The Cardinals lost Colt McCoy. Colt McCoy got hurt. I think he got a concussion. But this was just I guess a solid game between two bad teams. I can't really tell you guys. I mean, this was just a real game. It was so unexciting. I didn't even stand up for this game.
Yeah, the Cardinals. I did like on my most recent episode. I dropped the episode where I was basically like, the Cardinals, even though they're not they don't have the worst record in the league. I can't think of a team that may have had a worse calendar year than the Cardinals have in 2022.
Oh, facts.
I mean,
yeah.
they have had a really, really rough year, and everybody's like, "Well, you got to fire Cliff King," and I'm like,
"Is that going to be the answer?"
I don't think he's a great coach, but I think at best he's average, he's mediocre. But look at the circumstances around him. Like the goddamn house is burning.
GM is terrible.
It's gonna be hard to win games. So I don't have much to say about this game.
Yeah, Cardinals, they're probably one of the worst positions out of any team in the NFL. You got Kyler, but he has the ACL tear. They're reporting 6 months. Joke. Minimum 9. And he's a running quarterback. Like, come on.
He needs his mobility. That's what makes him special.
Look at Michael Gallup. Look at Ridley. I mean, not really, but like all these other receivers in the league. Like, come on. That's not a 6-month injury. Especially for a 5'10" quarterback. Stop it.
Right.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a tough road back. I mean, and they just paid him, so have fun.
Next year as well. So good luck. Yeah.
So then we got Patriots Raiders. This was also, I mean, a pretty ugly, uneventful game. I ain't gonna say uneventful because you had that the Patriots. Oh man,
this is the worst offense in the league.
You're right.
And people.
Oh, you're like hold my beer. Go ahead.
And I tell people this is a BB gun offense. I think
that's a funny phrase to me.
It's a BB gun offense.
Here we go.
They're the real BB gun offense of the league, and I look at New England and I'm like, I think that last play was kind of indicative of all of my criticism on Bill Belichick. And I have a lot of Patriot fans. I have some Patriot fans that listen to my podcast or whatever from Boston. And it's like they don't like me when I talk about and criticize Belichick because they think he's the best thing since sliced bread. But I'm like, this guy for a long time hasn't had, like, he lacks offensive sensibility in 2022. Offense should not look like this in 2022. And you know what he decided to do? He said, "Hey, Matt Patricia, our defensive coordinator who wasn't really good. We're just gonna pair him as our offensive coordinator with our second-year quarterback who has limitations in himself. And then also, we don't have playmakers on the outside either. So in the last 30 seconds of the game, you know what
they have Nelson Aguilar.
The last 30 seconds of the game, you know what you do? You run a play, you do a lateral, and it gets picked off. I think it's really indicative of what I've been pointing out with the Patriots in terms of their lack of awareness of what offensive football should look like in 2022, whether that's the coaching staff, schematically, in the draft, signing free agents, every block, every corner you turn, they are just not good offensively, and they're just lacking that awareness of what it should look like in 2022.
Yeah, New England, Matt Patricia is your offensive coordinator. This also shows you, like, even Belichick, you have to have someone that is kind of like your polar opposite. Like McVay had Wade Phillips that year, and then Raheem Morris and Brandon State. Like, you gotta have that guy that's doing the thing that you're not strong at. Right now, Bill has decided not to hire anybody that is his polar opposite on offense, which is crazy to me. But again, Roger Stevens, hell of a game. And again, another 7th round pick running back. At this point, what are we even doing? Drafting running back in the first round and the second round. 7th round pick, Ramondre Stevenson, 172 yards. Hey.
He's their most productive player on offense.
7th round pick.
To me, it would behoove him to do everything in his power, get Bill O'Brien back. And I even have my doubts about Bill O'Brien. But I mean, I just think it makes sense. Bill O'Brien already has history there. Like, just let him get in the building, let him call. Like, the crazy part is they're so bad offensively. If they were a middle of the pack offense, they probably have 10 wins right now. That's how porous they are on offense.
Mac Jones had 13 completions, and they're the only team in the NFL. They don't have a passing touchdown in the fourth quarter.
That's crazy.
And it's crazy because, like, you think of the Patriots along, like, all those years, those dynasty years, they were the most, you can count on them being the most disciplined and the less penalized team. Now they lack those things. People get mad at me because I call out Belichick and I see how it is, and he struggles in the draft. Hadn't had a great draft class since Lord knows when, he signs mediocre talent at these important skill positions, and people get mad at me because I call a spade, but this is what it is.
I mean, it's true. It's true. I cannot and I'm a big Bill fan, so I can't deny it. But yeah, I mean, pretty simple game. The Raiders still been up and down, but hopefully they can catch some kind of a win. I would like to see them win out the year and take this in, because they still have an outside shot of getting a wild card spot, because everybody in the AFC, the bottom of the AFC, is all right there. So I mean, hopefully maybe they have a shot, but if not, hopefully they can win out and carry it into the offseason. Titans Chargers, this one kind of caught me off guard. I thought the Titans would dominate through their running game. I mean, Derrick Henry had a good game, 21 carries for 104 yards and 1 touchdown. But I thought they were going to be able to control the game. And I mean, I think this was a signature win for Justin Herbert, because although he didn't have his best game, he made those throws and made those plays that put them in position to win the game. And I think these are the games that he has to win to really establish himself, to say that he is truly a great talent. But it was impressive. I'll say that. It wasn't a pretty game, but I think it was impressive to see the Chargers rally to be able to come out and up in this one.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the Titans. I like Mike Vrabel. I think there's probably no coach in the league that there's a couple coaches along with him that probably get like the utmost out of the talent that they have on their rosters. And I think you're seeing with Tennessee. I called this out first. I don't understand the play calling. Derrick Henry, look at his numbers: 21 carries, 104 yards, but it was at some point where he only had like 15 carries, and I'm like, what the hell are they doing? Like, you gotta run the football down the Chargers' throat. They severely can't stop the run. That's what you do best. And so the play selection just wasn't making sense. But I think ultimately Vrabel is such a good coach where he gets the utmost out of his rosters. But you're starting to see, and Tennessee was missing some guys. You're starting to see like they're coming back down to earth because like they just don't have enough offensively. Like they just lack talent at key spots where like you need to have good receivers in this league to win. Like receivers, like it used to be like receivers is the icing. Receivers are kind of part of the cake. Like they're an integral ingredient to success in this league. And you're starting to see Tennessee just don't have that balance attack offensively. You just can't rely on Henry. And then with the Chargers, Herbert, another signature victory. I think this is Herbert. He's getting his stuff off these last couple weeks where big game, big Sunday night game versus the Dolphins, big game versus the Titans, trying to get into the playoffs and get that monkey off his back so he can be put in that class with the Burrows and the Allens and, and so forth.
Yeah, selfishly, I would love to see the Titans lose out and get Trevor Lawrence in there because it just makes better football for me.
Absolutely. Oh, my God. Could you imagine?
AFC is just a gauntlet at QB. This is why I'm like, even if the Patriots get the right offensive coordinator, with Mac Jones, you're the seventh guy in the conference. Like, what is the goal here? You know he's never going to be better than like Lawrence or any of these other guys. He's never going to be better than Herbert. No matter how good Mac Jones gets, he would never be better than Justin Herbert.
Facts.
Because a slim 5 to 10% chance that ever happens. Probably less than that. That's the scary part. But on this note, again, this AFC playoffs is going to be a gauntlet, man. I mean, if Keenan Allen and Mike Williams can stay healthy with Herbert and the arm talent.
It's a big if.
Yeah,
it's a huge if.
We've been saying for the Chargers since LaDainian Tomlinson. I've been saying for years, but they can stay healthy and Joey Bosa is back soon. Got the talent. They could they're like a Miami Dolphins type, scary team. Maybe can upset the team too.
Okay. So then we got Bengals Bucks. This was an impressive game. I think this just shows. It's funny. You guys talking about team to beat Kansas City. I think Cincinnati is just dangerous.
You guys know my hot take?
That name.
You guys know my hot take?
What's your hot take?
The Cincinnati Bengals will finish with the number 1 seed in the AFC.
And I can see it. And I think that's a recipe. Cincinnati is I think built to play
anybody.
And they can beat anybody. They can beat Buffalo. Anybody, line them up. They can beat any conference, any team. They can beat them. I would
play the Bills. If I'm the Chiefs, I'm gonna be real. I would play the Bills.
Yeah,
real.
Yeah,
absolutely.
No, they can't. Yeah, the Bengals can run the football. They can stop. Look, they can stop the run. They can pass. They can stop the pass. They can rush the passer. And I think. What continues to impress me is that they've shown that they can win. They can win any type of way you need to win a football game.
Yep.
Whether it's a knockout, drag out, or blowout, or come behind win like this, because obviously the Buccaneers jumped on them. But yeah, I think this just was them flexing their muscle and showing you how good they can be. And man, Joe Burrow. We were talking about MVPs. I think he has an argument to say that he's definitely top MVP candidate. Exactly. Yeah. Cause he's been extremely impressive and played through a lot of ups and downs.
I think with Cincinnati, like I said, that's my hot take. I don't know if it's so hot, but they gotta go at New England. I think then they have to play Buffalo at home, Monday Night Football, and then they finish off with Baltimore at home as well. So I think they have a pretty good shot if they can beat. Obviously, they got to beat Buffalo to get that number 1 spot. That would help. That would improve their chances because they already beat Kansas City. Cincinnati, I say it all the time. Offensively, we know what they can do. Like running, they got a great rushing attack. Jamar Chase is him. They got nice weapons. Joe Burrow, improved offensive line. Their defense, they have a top 10 defense. They just don't have and Trey Henderson, he's out right now, but they just don't have a guy named Bosa or a guy named Aaron Donald or a Micah Parsons. They don't have those notable defensive superstars, but collectively, they are a really, really good group. And they're missing a Woozier, who's their best.
Man, that's a tough blow though.
Which really hurts because if they had their CB1, they're still a dangerous threat, but that would make them even more potent. I just look at this team and I don't know. I looked at the quarterback performances this week. I was really impressed with Josh Allen, Mahomes, and Burrow. All three faced some their circumstances and so forth. The Josh Allen overcoming schematically and game plans and so forth. Mahomes doing what Mahomes do, and then Burrow Cincinnati came out super flat. They came out super flat, and it was one of the worst halves that I've seen. But then in the second half, and a lot of it kind of some of it was Tampa just being sloppy with the football, but then some of it's no, this Cincinnati defense can play good football and force turnovers, and they can give their
physical defense, man.
Field. It's a good defense. It's a good defense. So I like, and you saw Joe. The thing I like about Joe Burrow, he's not the most athletic guy. Athletic enough. He has a good arm, not great arm, not like a Josh Allen, not like a Justin Herbert. But the dude is so poised and has so much swagger. And I'm not saying he is this guy, but he might his calmness and coolness in no matter what the score is, it gives me a little Joe Montana feel where it's we're good, we got this, we're fine. It's the same way, even tone, mellow tone, no matter what the score is.
He is anti what GMs say is the premier quarterback right now. Joe Burrow's anti that. He is so polar opposite because they don't care about intangibles. They just want they want Justin Herbert.
Right? That's true. They don't care about intangibles.
We want Josh Allen.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. So that's what they want. And Joe Burrow is not that. And it's funny because, obviously moving on so we can close this out. But I remember seeing how analysts talked about him when he came in, he'll be like a Matt Ryan type of quarterback, this, that, and the third.
Yeah, I was that
guy. And how those conversations have changed. The narrative has changed now that we've seen him in these big moments and just be calm. We've seen him take 10 sacks and a freaking 9-10 sacks in the playoff game.
Not normal, man.
Huh?
You shouldn't win like
normal.
That.
No QB does that. Even Mahomes is not getting sacked 8 times and winning the game. That just doesn't happen in the NFL.
Unrattled. He is
the ACL there. Let's not forget he tore his ACL the year before. He's supposed to be rattled. I expect him to be rattled. He tore his ACL.
Joe Burrow is the definition of stoicism at the quarterback position, and someone's going to have to prove me wrong.
That's Kenny's word. That's definitely Kenny's word, man.
What? I'm serious. I'm serious, dude. He's the definition of stoicism. But yeah, we don't even talk about the Buccaneers. They're a bad team, and I think they're going to miss the playoffs because it's so slim, and they have to play the Panthers again.
Really? Who do you think is in there? Who do you think is in there? The Saints get in there?
But here's the scary part: it could really be any of them because it took a penalty against Grady Jarrett for them to beat the Falcons. If I'm not mistaken, the Panthers beat them last time convincingly, and
the Saints had a lead.
And I think exactly. So it's one of those things where you're at least with this team this year, you're not going to be able to hang your hat on. Oh, we got Tom Brady. This is a bad football team.
Bad team,
with a bad head coach and a bad offense and a leaky defense. It's a lot of question marks. So I think I'm very confident. I would probably bet a lot of money that they're going to miss the playoffs. So then kind of closing out really quick because we got to get to our quick prediction, rapid fire predictions. Giants Commanders. I mean, this was a classic NFC East game. I mean, obviously the Giants got away with some molestation at the end of the game. But these are two teams that are that are in play, that are really in playoff contention, and that are going to continue to fight. That obviously the Commanders beat them last time, but Giants right now they have everything's in front of them. The Commanders too. I don't want to say they're gonna win out because they got to play Dallas one more time, but
True.
I mean, hey, they play San Fran. You know, they play. I forgot who else. Yeah, it's gonna be tough. But here's the thing: the Commanders are a good football team. You said what?
The Lions get in there. That's my prediction. The Lions get in there. Commanders don't.
I do. I think the Lions get in, and I think the Giants get in. Obviously, the Giants get in as well. But I mean, this was just a pretty simple game. I mean, Taylor Heineke tried his best, played a solid game. Daniel Jones is like steady but unimpressive. And then Saquon Barkley is just doing everything he can. He's putting his body on the line. Like, I feel bad for him because he's taking a lot of punishment. But they're a playoff team. They're going to be a playoff team.
I'll say this about Brian Daboll, who I think, in my opinion, is probably the leading candidate for Coach of the Year. The Giants, even when you compare them against the Commanders, like there's a talent mismatch. Like the Commanders, they got talent on offense, defense, defensive. Like there's some talent there to work with. Where Brian Daboll, we talk about Daniel Jones, he has Daniel Jones looking like an average at best quarterback. Like he's average. Daniel Jones hasn't looked like this. I mean, like ever.
He looks steady and confident.
He looks steady and confident, and a lot of that has to do with Brian Daboll. And I think the coaching job that he's done has been just remarkable. Because outside of if you're not like following the NFC East, can random fans name like 5 to 10 Giant players? Like outside of Saquon Barkley, like
average fan,
huh?
The average fan or
the average fan that doesn't look at the NFC East. There's not much premium talent to work here with, and he has them right here, like a 4-win improvement from over the past 4 years, where they average 4 wins per year over the last 4 years. They're 8. My guess is they'll probably win one more game and they'll be a playoff team. So it's remarkable to see what he's done.
Yeah.
And with the Commanders, I mean, I think, like I said, they have more talent and they should have probably won this game. Like this, if you're Ron Rivera, this is a game that you have to win at home. The talent advantage is in your direction. And granted, the Giants did get away with some egregious calls, right? Oh, that one last egregious call. But I thought Taylor Heineke should have scored on that scramble. They had so many bites at the apple.
Yeah. Yeah, that was sexual assault, just to keep it very simple. Like, I was pretty bad.
What Ryan said, though.
Yeah. It was, you said what?
That's not what Ryan said. He said it's never called.
Well, man, if only we could see things the way Ryan does. So I mean, closing this out, I mean, I'll be honest, man.
We kind of already talked about this game a little bit too.
Rams, Packers.
Yeah.
But Jordan Love, that's my take.
You said, yeah, exactly.
Love. Yeah, I get somebody this year.
This is a team that is you're asking yourself. Maybe if they lose next week, I think that they'll put Jordan Love in the lab. But I think that they're doing themselves a disservice from a draft or from a capital standpoint to see what they can get for Jordan Love, not putting him out on the field and letting him produce. I don't know. I think it's kind of a little bit selfish of Aaron Rodgers, but once again, he still thinks that they have an outside shot at the playoff. So I guess if the ball bounces the right way, they do, but.
I think it's a lot. I said a month ago, I was like, the Packers need to bench Aaron Rodgers. He's making $50 million per year. You're going to be salary cap strapped and restricted next year. So how do you improve this roster from this year? You need draft capital. You need as much draft capital and young and cheap contracts as possible. So I thought they should have made the move to get off of Aaron Rodgers and bench him. Not because it's his play, but like you want to see what Jordan Love have. Like you want to see what it looks like. So I just don't think it makes much sense to me. Like I said, Christmas Day, that'll all be set. Miami will send them packing.
Does it?
Yeah, Miami is sending them packing. Miami's coming off of 2 straight losses on the road. They're not losing the game.
They'll go ahead and quiet all that down. They'll get Jordan Love. They'll get Jordan Love on the field.
They will get. He'll probably be on the field that game.
By the end of it.
By the end of it, he'll be on the field. Yeah. That's how bad I think the Miami Dolphins will probably win.
Well, yeah. So yeah, and then to me, I was talking to a Rams fan earlier, and I said, now you're just waiting to see when you watch the Rams. If you're a Rams fan or that coaching staff, you just want to see who could we use next year. Like who can possibly get extensive playing time next year? They're terrible.
They're horrible. It's not a lot to work with.
Yeah, it's not. So it's kind of like one of those. I think I can look at it from like, we look at the Cowboys. If 2020 doesn't happen, you don't get a Terrence Steele, an undrafted guy who gets the opportunity to play and take his licks and then get better. So I think that the Rams with some of the guys, because they don't have a lot of draft capital. So at this point, you have to start developing players. And I think that's where they're at right now. They're going to have to develop players. But I mean, not really much else to say on that game. Let's get into this quick rapid fire predictions. And let's go ahead and close this thing out. What you got for us, Zay?
All right. So Thursday night football, we have the 6-8 Jaguars at the 7-7 New York Jets.
Jaguars.
I got Jaguars. I got
Jaguars as well.
Sweet.
So we got some Christmas Eve games. We have, I think 1, 2, 3, 4. Got about 5 to 6 Christmas Eve games.
Oh, wow.
1:00 game. We have the 5-9 Falcons at the 9-5 Ravens.
You said the what?
The Falcons at the Ravens.
Is Lamar Jackson playing this week?
You want to be honest?
I think the Falcons come there and win.
I'm taking the Falcons.
Ooh.
And I think, watch this. And I think Drake London is going to have over 100 yards receiving.
I can see it with that second.
Okay, just very quickly, who's at home?
Baltimore.
I'm taking Baltimore then. I'll just be that guy. I'll take him.
Okay. All right. So next game on the slate, 7-7 Lions at the Panthers.
Lions.
I agree.
Look, they're hot right now.
Fear the roar. Whatever they say. Bring back the roar or something like that.
The next game we have Bills at Bears.
Bills.
Yeah. Okay.
Come on. Kenny was the Bills and the 49ers, man. You can't. Like
no. Okay, I'll take Buffalo, but I will say this: the Bears they're gonna punch them in the mouth and they're gonna make it a fight. They're not gonna just go in there and get steamrolled.
If it's a 10-point spread, I want the spread then. If that's a number.
Yeah. Okay, next game we have the Saints at the Browns.
I'm taking the Saints.
Damn.
I'm gonna take the Browns.
I'm gonna take the Saints. Yeah.
I'm confident in Allen so much that I have to go Browns.
Can I ask that? I'm just gonna ask this. Well, it's not. I'm gonna ask this question. I just think it's still crazy that Jameis Winston has not made it back on the field. Just gonna throw that out there.
That's a fact.
Dalton hasn't been that crazy, good, but he hasn't been like bad enough to get benched. That's the problem.
So what does that? So that says a lot about Jameis.
Yeah.
All right, but what you got?
Okay, Seahawks at the Chiefs. I have the Chiefs winning that game.
If I tell you this, if they play like they played this week, it'll be out. It'll be the Seahawks. I'm gonna take the Seahawks. Forget it.
Of course. Be careful.
Watch this. You did. Go ahead.
We have a lot of Saturday games. Most of the games come on Saturday, by the way.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's Christmas. I'm dumb. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Christmas Eve.
Eve.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we have 1:00 game, another 1:00 game. The Giants at the Vikings.
I'm gonna take the Giants. I think Minnesota is just soft. I think Minnesota is just soft enough to drop that one because I think the Giants are they may not be talented, but they're a tough team. And I could see Daniel Jones having over 100 yards rushing. I could see Saquon Barkley rushing for 120, 130 on that Minnesota team.
I'm gonna go with the Giants because the Vikings defense, and especially in the secondary, I can see Daniel Jones probably having one of his better statistical games because this Vikings defense and mainly their secondary is really leaky. They give up a lot of big chunk plays, so I can see Saquon breaking a couple 15-yard rushes. I can see Daniel Jones maybe hitting a deep ball or two, and the Giants being able to put up enough points. I was questioning if the Giants put up enough points, but I think they can with this defense.
Yeah, I actually like the Giants too because it's hard to win off them most to win like last week. Also, I don't think it's that big of a gap in these teams. Truth be told, I really don't. Like the other team does have Kirk Cousins, and he's clearly better, I think, than Jones. But overall, the team, the way they've been playing, it's not as far as people probably think.
Yeah.
No.
Okay, here's a good one. Cincinnati, the Bengals at the Patriots.
I'm take the Bengals. Yeah,
I'm gonna take the Bengals too.
Yeah,
I think they're hot. Like I said, if he's in my hot take. We have the Texans at the Titans.
Titans. They can't lose another one. They just can't keep losing. They're cold right now.
But the Texans can we argue that the Texans, although that they coming off 2 straight losses, are hot? And they have look, watch this.
No, Kenny, we can't continue to let this. We can't continue to let you do this. I mean,
Kenny loves these teams. Kenny loves these teams, man.
He's in love with these. Kenny is not an elitist.
No, he likes to feisty guys.
Yeah. He's not an elitist. But here's the thing: we can't mark them hot when they have lost both of their
They've pushed 2 of the top teams in. They've pushed 2 of the top teams in the NFL to the Cowboys. They pretty much had them beat, and then Kansas City. Yeah, so I mean, you think they can't beat
the last 2 games? They played good enough to win.
True.
I'm gonna take the Texans.
I can't.
I'm gonna take the Titans. I think they're at home.
If the Titans lose this, I'm
scary. They shouldn't make the playoffs.
They should make the playoffs. They
should make the playoffs if they lose this game. So, I think the Titans. I think they bounce back. But the Texans, they play well, but we can't say
no Damian Pierce. He's out for the season. No Brandon Cooks. God damn it! Lovie Smith.
I'm gonna take the upset.
Titans can't, man. Titans, look, you better win this damn game.
Next game, Commanders at 49ers. I know who Kenny's taking.
I'm taking the Commanders.
Of course he is.
Look, I'm gonna tell y'all this.
Of course he is.
I was Robin Hood in a prior life.
Yep. Save the poor Kenny. Save the poor Kenny.
God, man.
I believe it. I'm for the people.
Oh my God.
49ers can't win out, really. They're
no. But I will say this: I think Chase Young's gonna make his debut. But I think that from my understanding, he is.
Yeah.
I will say this: I think Washington will be able to create problems for San Fran defensively that some of the teams that they've played have not been able to, because they are actually a pretty solid, well-rounded defense, and they stop the run really well.
Oh yeah, Jonathan Allen, Deron Payne.
Yeah. They stop the run very, very well, and they quietly have a really good front 7 linebackers. Cole Holcomb, Jamin Davis, they got some guys. I'm just gonna say that. Yeah, he's been better. So
are been really good. These saves I came to know. I don't know both their names, but they were ranked top 2 safeties by BFF for 10 weeks.
Yeah.
So
I'm taking the Niners.
He said that being said, I'm gonna go.
I'm taking the Niners. Like I said, they've hit their hot stretch. I do think this game is gonna be close. This is not gonna be the Niners where they just walk over.
Because, I doubt that.
Washington, they can be just as physical up front on both sides with their rushing attack and being able to limit the 49ers rushing attack.
100%.
But I think the Niners, they get away with the win. I'll say they win by 4 points or so. It's going to be a really close game.
Okay.
Respect.
Okay, 425. We got the Eagles at the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys.
I'm taking the Cowboys. Watch this, and the Cowboys gonna win, and we're gonna hear Eagles fans say, "Oh, well, Jalen Hurts didn't play." I'm like, "Well, y'all beat Dallas without Dak Prescott, so I don't want to hear."
The Cowboys cannot lose this game, like just be like that. Well, technically, this game kind of doesn't mean anything. I mean, it can't lose it because like you see, I think we need to win out just for the psyche going into the playoffs. Absolutely, you have to. It doesn't. We're going to be the 5th seed.
They have an outside shot at the 1 seed.
Yeah, I think like 10% chance.
If they win out and Philly loses out,
and I think Minnesota has to drop a game.
They can't tie. They can't tie with Dallas,
but they have one more win than us right now anyway. So they would have to drop one to tie us, right?
Oh,
they have 11 wins.
Well, it's perfect. We picked the Giants to win, right?
Yep, we did. I know.
Oh, it's a big week for Dallas.
Yeah.
LOL.
Yeah. What's next?
We have this is the last game. This is 8:15. Raiders at the Steelers.
Damn.
It's in Pittsburgh and it's in the cold. Ooh.
Carr's arm.
Yeah.
Can you pick this back this week? By the way, he is playing. I got the word. He is playing this week. I do know
who is
update.
Can you pick it?
I got the injury update. I do have that. I'm like 90% sure.
I think I'm gonna take Pittsburgh just because they still have the better defense, and it's gonna be in the cold, and it's I'm gonna
and they're at home. Mike Tomlin's trying to go 500. You know Mike Tomlin. He's trying to go 500.
Yeah.
Right? Or like he's above 500. He's probably trying to go 9-8. So I think they're gonna do everything. They're gonna fight to the end. So and they're at home.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Pittsburgh.
Christmas Day games. We have 3 games on the slate. Packers at Dolphins. I'll just get mine out the way because you guys know how I feel. The Dolphins won't drop 3 straight. They're coming off of two losses. One was, they got embarrassed kind of by the Chargers. This past loss by the Bills, it was a like in Kenny's words, it's like they're hot. They're hot. So the Dolphins will win. They beat the Packers.
Is it in Miami? Is it in Miami?
It's in Miami.
Yeah, I have them winning by like 10 then.
Yeah, I have them winning by like 10.
Jair Alexander has been good this year though, so I want to see a matchup with.
He didn't have some ups and downs early.
Tyreek goes on that kid. You better double.
First of all, I just think they're just matchup nightmares. I really can't say I don't think any.
No secondary can go.
If you give Tua time, and I have to look at their tackle situation with Austin Jackson and Teron Armstead. If they get some time,
Armstead has performed pretty well.
Okay,
he's elite.
Yeah,
plays.
But what I'm saying, are they healthy? That's my only question.
Armstead played last week.
Yeah, because. Yeah, so if they get those guys back, then but I agree with you guys. I'm taking Miami, and I think it could possibly they'll win convincingly. What other games we got?
We got Snorefest, Broncos at Rams.
Who the hell do I have here?
I'm gonna take the Broncos. Still got a really good defense.
Who's at home here? Oh, actually, you know what? I'm gonna take the Rams.
I'm gonna take the Broncos.
No, you're right about the Broncos defense.
They still have a good defense at the end of the day.
Defense is like elite.
Yeah, it's elite.
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm going to Broncos because the Rams O line is just
and Latavius Murray running the hell out that ball. I said, okay, man, got 130 yards.
Yeah, I'm gonna switch. I'm gonna have to take the Broncos. The Rams O line and Baker's gonna get destroyed. And Patrick Surtain is probably the best corner in the NFL.
Hey, look, you guys, maybe who knows?
Huh?
Maybe Randy Gregory, kind of has an impact.
Oh my god!
I mean, no, I'm just saying he can take advantage.
I can't, man. I can't.
Okay.
Oh, okay, my bad.
So we got Buccaneers at Cardinals.
I'm gonna take the Cardinals. If Colt McCoy plays, I'm gonna take the Cardinals because Colt McCoy got hurt.
Bucks are that bad?
The Bucks are that bad. Ron, what's Colt McCoy's status?
Okay, now that one I don't have. Give me a chance. I can look it up.
If Colt McCoy, I say this while you're doing that. If Colt McCoy is available and playing, I think they can beat the Cardinals because the Cardinals, they still got obviously they've had a horrendous season and they're a bad football team on both sides, honestly. But they got
a concussion in week 16. That's not good.
And he's a guy that's always been like always had these concussion issues. Okay, I take Tampa.
The concussion, that's
I believe. And you know what? Only reason I'll say this is because Cardinals defense actually have teeth. I think they still lead the league in scoring defense. I think they still do. I have to double check.
That'd be a crazy stat right there.
Yeah, they get turnovers.
One game where they scored like 3 defensive touchdowns. I think,
but I think even outside of that, they've scored in multiple other games. Like they're pretty. I'll be honest, they're better than I thought they were going to be. And the linebackers, Isaiah Simmons and Zaven Collins are developing.
Finally playing them, goddamn! Finally,
yeah.
But yeah, if the Bucs lose this, look, man, they should not be. If you lose, I think the Cardinals are damn near the worst team in the league right now. Like they probably feel like it because it's like, where do we go from here? And you
think they're worse than the Texans?
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, that's the game that's going down to the wire.
Their situation, like I said, over the last calendar year of 2022, the Cardinals situation, it's like damn. What
you paid Kyler, you paid Cliff. Kyler's been hurt twice now, and since 2022.
This is a serious injury.
The Bucs actually have teams. They're leading the division. Like, the Cardinals are eliminated. If you lose, look, the Bucs are terrible, but if they lose this game, I'm like, yo, they're even worse than I thought. I think they're really bad, but man, this would be a bad loss, Bucs.
Yeah, I mean, but once again, the Bucs are a bad team.
They are terrible
too. So, yeah. So,
and then the Monday night game, the Chargers at the Colts.
Chargers.
I'm gonna take the Chargers.
I'm gonna game though.
Well, you know what? Okay.
Colts can win this. This is typical Chargers.
Colts can, only because if they are able to get that running game going against that defense and slow the game down.
Jonathan Taylor's out. I'm about to say, yeah.
Oh, he's out.
He's had a bad year. He's had a bad year anyway.
Yeah, he's throwing the ball, to be honest, but yeah, he's out for the season.
I got the Chargers winning it, but there's always a possibility of the Chargers.
You know what? I'm gonna take the Colts.
How can you just sit on it?
No, I'm gonna take the Colts.
Colts are really good secondary.
Because I think, yeah, exactly. Because I think defensively they could definitely make some noise. And really? Stephon Gilmore is still playing pretty well.
Give me Isaiah Rodgers, they're both like 2 corners are top.
After giving up 36 unanswered points
against a offense with a good quarterback. And possibly a number 1 wide receiver in football, a top 5 running back,
and then we have
a top 5, top 8 tight end. Like, that's the team that watch this. The Chargers don't have that.
The Chargers don't have that, but they have a better quarterback and good receivers. They got nice.
Like their offense. Watch this. Their offense is not that good. Their offense is not Minnesota's offense.
Okay,
I'll say that. Warriors trash, but.
And they don't have the run, and they don't have a running game.
They don't have a running game with
It's weird though. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
They don't.
But the O-line's not good either for the Chargers. Realistically, it's not good.
Exactly, and we're not gonna make it seem like DeForest Buckner won't tear some stuff up. And Kwity Paye has gotten better.
They have Ngakoue too, who's been sleepwalking this year, but he's on the team. He's Frank Clark in it right now, basically. Like, formerly good player, but are you still good? Like, that's the Frank Clark syndrome. Jokic.
You said back. Frank Clark in it. Yeah.
Jokic historical night.
The Nuggets are currently up 21. It's only it's the beginning of the second quarter.
Yeah, man. So I mean, that is pretty much it. I think we had a really fun eventful. We got to really dive in, especially when doing this recap and predictions and some of the things that's going on as we close out. Very, very, very. We'll definitely keep everybody updated with this Willie Mcginest stuff, and then NBA. What Christmas games do we have for the NBA?
I know the Mavericks play the Lakers. NBA Christmas.
We got LeBron, Luka.
So we got Knicks. So 12 o'clock. We got 76ers, Knicks. Then following that, we got Lakers, Mavs. Then we got the Bucks, Celtics.
That's great.
Grizzlies, Warriors, and Suns, Nuggets.
Oh yeah, this is amazing. These are this is must-see TV.
I wish Steph was healthy.
Yeah, but the pool party is back allegedly. So
yeah. So a good salute of Christmas basketball and football games. I know I'll be enjoying it. Rooted Sports Community will be open during some of the football games. I'll have it open for anyone that wants to join and chop it up and talk. But outside of that, man, I wish everybody a happy holidays. You guys got anything?
Nope, that's it. Appreciate
that's
you.
about it. That's about it.
Appreciate you putting this on.
Always, man, and it's see you guys next week or whoever's on. I don't know whoever's going to tune in and host with the kid, but it's going to be a lot of fun. So we'll definitely have some interesting things to talk about next week and the conclusion of some of these basketball games and these. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, are we going to get any college football too? Maybe
we got some middle of the pack like bowl. I think like UCLA plays.
Yeah, they got me in these damn bowl games, man.
Yeah, it's the New Year's 6. We gotta wait till like the New Year's.
There's 6. Hey, that's where the best games are. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got Wisconsin, Oklahoma State.
We got the Lysol Bowl, the Crystal Geyser Bowl.
Go Knicks come back to Oregon.
Man, I'm just looking at things. I'm like, man, it's a bowl game. The Nautica Bowl. I don't know.
Yeah, Nautica's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, it's always
bowl.
It literally. I'm like, man, they got the bowl game for this, man. So the Kit Kat Bowl. But yeah, so yeah, man. Like I said, thanks for joining me. Everybody tuned in. Please subscribe if you subscribe to Rooted in Sports on YouTube, or follow any of us at our social media handles. I know I'm Tiberius519 on Instagram. What about you guys?
I'm Ron Harrod Jr. RONHARROD Jr. on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, everything literally.
Yeah, I'm Isaiah, so it'll be Zay with 2. I think it's 2 eyes.
Yes, that is
Zay,
2 eyes.
yeah, 2 eyes. _X. And then on Twitter, it's at Isaiah Kid Pod. So
yeah. So definitely tap in with these guys. Podcast Franchise Mode with Ron and the Isaiah Kit Podcast with Isaiah. Until then, I want everybody to have a happy holidays. Rooted in Sports Community on Twitter Spaces will be up. So tune in for that. Tap in if you want to just talk some sports. But outside of that, man, like I said, it's been a blessing having you guys on. I'll talk to you guys next week. And until then, have a Merry Christmas with your families.
For sure. You as well.
Peace.
All right. I'll be in Palm Springs. Solo dolo. But all right, y'all.